Hello, my name is Ray, and I'm a librarian at the Volusia County Public Library. Today we're going to learn how to make washi eggs. Washi eggs are eggs that have been covered with origami paper, so let's learn how to do that today. But to do it, you're going to need to gather a few supplies. First of all, you're going to need origami paper. You'll need a pair of scissors. You'll need a paintbrush, a container for water and your glue, and of course your eggs. Let's get started. Today I will be using plastic eggs. If you're using real eggs, what you will need to do is make a pinhole in the top and again on the bottom of the egg. And then you will need to insert a skewer, stir the egg around to break up the yolk, shake it a little bit, and then you will proceed to blow through one of the holes, forcing the yolk and the white out. You can rinse the egg off with soapy water and allow it to dry before proceeding. Your next step is to measure the paper out that you're going to use to wrap the egg. Ideally, you'll want a 4-inch by 6-inch piece of origami paper to do this. As you can see, this is a full-size sheet of paper. What you will do is lay your egg on the paper and you will wrap from the edge to the center along the length of the egg. So the length of the egg, one edge at the peak, and where that comes together, you're going to make a fold. I've pre-folded this, so we would make a fold this way. So again, the length of the egg. Now we're going to measure the width. So again, you will roll it over, and then you're going to fold where that meets. So I've made both of those folds, and then I've taken the additional step of marking the length and the width. Our next step is to cut that square out. So we'll cut along the length, and then we'll make a similar cut along the width. And we're going to want to save this excess paper because it may come in handy later. So we'll set this off to the side, and we are ready to proceed with the next step. So now our next step is to fold this piece of paper, and what we want to do is fold the long edges together and make a crease. And then you're going to want to open it up, and you're going to want to fold this long edge to that center crease. And we'll take the other long edge and fold it to meet the center. And then you're going to fold it again. So your folds, again, long edge to long edge in half. Open it up, and then you're going to bring those edges to meet in the center and fold it together. And then you're going to want to crease this really tight. Once we've made that crease, you'll take the end and you will bring it over to meet, and we're going to fold it in half here and make another crease. And then what I suggest you do is you take your egg, this is going to be your center line, and you want to make it meet up, and then you're going to hold right here. You're going to pinch that, and we're able to proceed to the next step. So again, I'm holding onto that fold. The open ends are here. And what we are going to want to do is make 4 cuts. So your first cut is going to go in the center, just about down to your fingertip. So that's the first cut right in the center. And then we're going to make 2 more cuts in the center of each of the 2 remaining segments. So segment 1, segment 2. Segment 1, we're going to make a cut in half. Segment 2, another cut, and then we are going to open this paper up, and where it was folded, you'll notice that it's larger than the other pieces. We need to cut along that fold on both sides so that it opens up. So I'm going to go ahead and cut these open, and I will return in just a moment. So we've cut those folds open as well, and now you can see we have fringes on both sides. What you're going to want to do is fold this back together at this point, and we're going to take each of these separate fringes and we're going to cut them into peaks so it looks like little picket fences. So let me grab my scissors again, and I'll show you a couple cuts here. So here's two of those together, the front and the back, so to speak. And we are going to cut in the center on a diagonal down, and a center on the diagonal down the other way. And as you can see, we've made a little pointy piece. Now you're going to want to continue to do this all the way across the top, all the way across the bottom. So I'm going to get to cutting, and I'll be back in a moment. So once you've cut all of those fringes along the top and the bottom, this is what you end up with. Again, it's modeled for this egg. And so your next step will be to get a container, and I've got a small cup here. There's a little bit of water in the bottom of it, and then you're going to want to take your glue, again, paper glue, any type that you want, but it should be water cleanup, because what you're going to do is put a little bit of glue in here with that water. And what we're going to do is actually thin out the glue. So you're going to take that paintbrush and you're just going to mix it up, and what we want is a really thin glue. A little bit thicker than water, but a lot thinner than the glue. And then your process is, I don't quite have enough there. You see it's really runny, it's dripping off the brush. Not quite what we want, so I'm going to add a little bit more glue. I'm going to mix, mix, mix. So this is more the consistency that I'm looking for. It's not quite dripping off the brush, but it's not super thick either. And then what you're going to want to do is you're going to paint this paper with the glue. And you really want to get it wet. And I'll start with about half of it up to that center fold. And you want to make sure you get the tips of that paper. Set this off on the side here. And you're going to want to set your egg in the center. And then you're going to proceed to roll it, smooth it out. And you really can't make a mistake here. What you want to do is smooth these tips down, because they're going to cover over the egg. And you're going to try to lap these seams together as you go across on the top and on the bottom of the egg. It's a little bit easier with a regular egg, a natural egg. The plastic eggs have a shiny surface on it, so sometimes if you scuff it up, it helps. But I'm going to continue to work on this. The other thing I would mention is you can actually paint the glue on the outside of this to help hold those seams together. So you really can't use too little glue. You want to make sure, and this is going to be pretty wet, but with your origami paper, to cover these seams up, you can actually stretch it a little bit to help hold it. But you'll keep working around, and I will be back in just a moment. So it took about 5 or 6 minutes to work on laying all those down. You can see that it's pretty wrinkly right now. As this dries out, the paper will continue to shrink and these wrinkles will come out. If you're worried about it, you can put some more glue on here and try to stretch a little bit further. You can see I've made a little bit of an oops here. It doesn't quite cover. A couple things you can do with that. You can either work on pulling this together by squeezing and shoving it around as it's wet. The other thing that you can do is that excess paper that we had left over, you could put a little bit over the top of it to help cover that up, so cut just a little bit of it. But this is really the finished product that you're going to get down to, and you're going to want to allow this to dry overnight, and then you can move on to the next step if you want to. So I will be back in just a moment. So these are a few eggs that I've had the time to work on before this video was put together. Again, using the origami paper, that same technique of measuring, cutting it into the picket fence strips, and then gluing each of those strips down. Takes a little bit of time. It's about 10 minutes to work all the way through on one egg once you start gluing. Set these to the side, allow them to dry overnight, and then you have a couple options. First of all, you could just leave them alone. It would have a matte finish, but as you can see, these have a little bit of a sheen to them. I purchased some spray lacquer, and we sprayed these over. Makes it a little bit shiny. Nicer little finish that I think, but it's entirely up to you. One of the nice things that this will do is it helps to protect the origami paper on there, and it to me it looks a little bit better, but again, it's your personal taste. You can leave it in a matte finish, or you can take the additional step in spraying these. Again, something you probably want to do on a nice calm day outside, and follow the directions on the spray lacquer can. So that's how you make washi eggs. You can see they make a wonderful addition to your Easter basket. If you're interested in learning more about different types of crafts that you can do for the holidays, we have plenty of books at the Volusia County Public Library, and I encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube page. Thanks for watching.